Welcome to Two Off the Tee, the U.S. Open preview. I am your host, Keith Flemming. As always, I am joined by my favorite gambling degenerate, Alan, aka at Actively Lazy 85 on Twitter. And we are very happy to welcome our good friends, Ryan Mulvey, host of the Inside Drive on ESPN Northwest Florida Radio, and the most wanted man by women 45 to 70 years old, his co-host, Jay Henley. What's going on, guys?
We have data to support that, so that is factual.
I don't need no data. I've seen it at the
It's the
course.
reality. Yes,
It's just a fact.
It is. Yeah. 45.
You guys excited?
Oh yeah, it's
Yes.
U.S. Open week. How can you not be excited?
Out in LA, I got a friend that's actually going out to the event. Two buddies actually that are going to be there. I'm quite jealous. The course looks amazing. We'll get into all of that in a minute. But I do want to start here because are you guys concerned that the Live PGA deal is going to overshadow, in my opinion, what should be the story this week is we've got Rahm, we've got Scheffler, and we've got Koepka. And there is a real, in my opinion, battle for who is the next guy in golf. And that should be the story this week, in my opinion. But instead, at least from the presser that I've seen and the way the media has treated, the golf media has treated so far, I'm worried we're going to hear way too much about the Live PGA merger and not nearly enough of what we care about, which is actual golf stories.
It's obviously one of the biggest topics in sports right now, and it's hard to ignore it. But at the end of the day, it's still. Even last week during the RBC Canadian Open, the golf seemed to take the forefront in this thing. So I'm hopeful. You even saw it a little bit in the press conference. I don't know who it was. We talked about it on the show today. One of the reporters was asking a question about it. One of the guys was going to dive into the answers, and then it got shut down, and they tried to focus the questions on the U.S. Open. Which I'm hopeful that that's the case. I don't think it's going to overshadow that. I think this could be one of the best major championships we've seen in a long time as far as how close it's going to be and the excitement, because this golf course, I've been watching a lot about it. I'm excited about the golf course more than anything in this one.
Yeah, it's a great venue. And like I said, we'll get into that in a second. I think that you can make a case, too, that the pressure's off for a lot of these guys now. Because if you went to Live and you weren't like a Dustin Johnson or a Brooks Koepka, you had to be concerned about, like, how many more majors will I get to play in? And I have to play well in this major in, order to qualify for the next or next year's. And I think that's kind of, the one thing from this merger, if it goes through, is that is taken care of. And so now hopefully we can just get back to golf between these guys.
Yeah, if they let them back on. I mean, we talk about it at length. I mean, there's still so much to unpack with this whole thing. And, they're talking about it. They're going to have to pay some kind of bounty or fine or something like that to get back on. So definitely some questions for sure. But, guys just need to go out there. It's the U.S. Open. If you're in the U.S. Open, you're in it for a reason. You either qualified one way or qualified the hard way. And you've got to play good golf to keep that status going.
All right, before we get into the course preview, I'll put you guys all on the spot. Start with Jay. Favorite U.S. Open in your lifetime that you remember?
Favorite
What stands out to you immediately? Just off the top of your head.
I just got to keep going back to the 07 U.S. Open at Torrey Pines and Tiger and Rocco. That's the only thing that I can keep thinking about. It was phenomenal. Just watching an 18-hole playoff on Monday, which I'm not sure. So if there's a tie that happens on Sunday in the U.S. Open, does that qualify for an 18-hole automatic playoff?
They changed it, right? I think it's a 4-hole playoff now. I think they did that a few years ago.
Okay. It does,
okay.
Yeah.
And
Just
Jay's
curious.
Already off to his a hot start. That was the 08 U.S. Open, but I will give you credit for it, Jay. Ryan, what about you? What U.S. Open comes to mind when you think of it?
It's certainly hard not to have that one be at the top of the list for sure. Also, when Tiger just absolutely dominated at Pebble Beach, that was a pretty cool one. That was in his heyday, the Tiger Slam, all that stuff. Being a big golf fan growing up, there's so many good U.S. Opens, and I want to agree with Jay on this one. I hate to have to agree with Jay, but spending time with Rocco Mediate when I worked at Shark Shoop in Camp Creek and listen to him tell the story with Rich Lerner and all that was pretty cool. So I'm going to take the easy out and say that 08 at Open at the Torrey Pines was certainly one of the most memorable U.S. Opens. I wish that it wasn't an 18-hole playoff because that's just – I feel like it loses a lot of its luster, and that's why they changed it from
Tiger did too, because his knee was shredded, and he was like, "Can we get this thing over with?
Just finish this and play it off." Yeah, no, absolutely. So I'll go with the 08 Open as well.
Rocco's reaction when Tiger made it is one of my favorite moments in the history of the game too, where it was as genuine could be. He just said, "I knew he was going to make it. I knew it," which is kind of the way we all felt at 2008 with Tiger Woods. All right, Alan, tell me what your favorite U.S. Open is. Which one of Brooks's wins?
It was actually Gary Woodland's.
There we go.
Yeah, it's 80-1, baby.
That's right.
And I picked him.
You did call that.
I picked him because he was a good ball striker. That was it. I was like, oh, he's a good ball striker. So I'm gonna go with it because he's at Pebble Beach and the coastal courses, the ball strikers do well there, and so there we have it. And he won. And I actually put that in my article, like the picture of him holding up the cup and stuff. So, yeah, 2019 for me. I'm not a historian like you guys.
I do got to recant just a second because I did mention it on the show. I think it was either today or yesterday. But when my boy DJ from Coastal Carolina, a fellow alumni, hit that, I want to say it was a 6 or 7 iron on the 18th hole, 6 iron on the 18th hole at Oakmont.
Dark.
Just cured that thing on a rope straight. I was like, yes, finally, because he'd been through so much crap with Whistling Straits, the collapse at Pebble, all that stuff. So I'm going to have to change my answer there and say the one, I forget which year it was, but the year DJ.
I think it was 17.
That's
either 16 or 17. I know that for a fact.
Then Brooks went back to back right after.
Oh, 16 then. You're right, because Brooks won 17, 18. I was actually surprised you did not go with Dustin Johnson. So
Jay mind messed with me there.
That was a great Open.
Too much.
I want to go with the Tiger U.S. Open as well.
Shocker.
No, I'm not going to. To be honest, because this is kind of what the U.S. Open is it's the one event that I feel like players lose more than they win. Is I'll always remember Phil Mickelson, who would have a career Grand Slam with a shocking Open Championship win in 2013. If he just wouldn't have hit frickin' driver.
I was there when it happened.
It's one of the, still to this day, most baffling decisions I've ever seen. Tiger would have never hit driver. Jack would have never hit driver. I don't think any great player all time would hit driver in that situation, especially not the way he was, spraying it. I mean, that's just the way Phil's always been. He makes double. Jeff Ogilvy becomes one of the most shocking U.S. Open champions in a long time, only because he not only was never really in contention during the tournament. I mean, even on Sunday when he finished, people didn't think he had a real chance to win. And I believe all 3 guys that were in front of him all kind of faltered. So I will always remember. That was Brookline, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. Phil collapsing. Yeah.
Wingfoot, that's right.
Wingfoot, yep.
Oh, and you were there, Ron.
Yeah, I was working on the Jersey Shore at that time doing an internship, and we shot up over there. A couple of us went up and were there when that happened, and it was just pure disbelief. Like
I'd give anything if I could go back and watch the Jersey Shore and see Ryan make a brief appearance in one of the episodes.
North side of the Jersey Shore.
We got a situation here.
Yeah, I wasn't doing any Jim Tanner laundry and fist pumping. Although Jeremy Shockey was this one place that's a whole nother story for another podcast.
We're going to talk about this tomorrow because I actually want to hear about it.
Yeah, there you go.
Before we get into the U.S. Open preview, remind everyone you can become an all-access member of Fantasy Six Pack by going to fantasysixpack.net/plans. You can get access to our Discord, access to award-winning rankings, tools, and a whole lot more. You can join today using the promo code F6PMLB for 15% off. You definitely need to do that with fantasy football rolling right around the corner. Tons of good information. You can contact me and Alan, ask us golf questions. So be sure to check that out. Okay. Los Angeles Country Club. It's funny. It's almost kind of a little deja vu. Last week we went into the Canadian Open. I talked over and over again about how we were flying blind, at least for people like me and Alan that are very analytically driven because there was
not analytically.
I was going to say, for people that are not so data driven, it wasn't that big of a deal, but for us it was because we didn't have an advantage. We had to kind of make our way. I thought both me and Alan did a really good job. He just missed a great call with Tommy Fleetwood to win, but Los Angeles and Rye, you're right, yeah. Los Angeles Country Club though, par 70, very unusual one in the sense it's got 3 par 3s, 3 par 5s. We don't see that very often. It's almost 7,500 yards, but will play much shorter due to firm conditions. But don't think that means length is not an advantage. They have a par 3 playing 290 yards. Just a little driver lob wedge for me, Jay. What about you?
Driver lob.
Yeah. 290, no big deal. 6 par 4s playing 480 plus, so it better be playing really firm for some of these guys. It's not your typical U.S. Open venue. That is due to it has wide fairways. The rough off the tee is not going to be nearly the issue that it normally is in a U.S. Open, but the standard issue with U.S. Open, the rough will occur around the greens. And, I mean, it is nasty. Bermuda rough, which for people who have played on that is a lot thicker and nastier, and just good luck if your ball sits down, which we sure it will this week. I'm sure you've seen the videos. The greens are extremely tough with runoffs and false fronts everywhere. They lead to either gnarly rough or these deep, difficult bunkers. And again, like last week, first professional event being hosted here since its renovation. I do want to say there's been 5 Genesis tournaments that were held there back before Riviera became that host venue for that tournament. And the 2017 Walker Cup, which again, it did play firm and fast. Scheffler and a few other guys actually played in that Walker Cup. They've talked about that at length. So for the second week in a row, I am not doing a comp course. If I had to give one, I think it would probably be Southern Hills for the PGA last year. You guys got any comp courses that come to mind when just looking at this?
We talked about it on the show. I'd throw Pinehurst number 2 as a comp course just because of the green complexes.
I like that.
And the and just kind of you hit it in some of those areas. There's no grass. You've got this whole section of this golf course that's the old, I forget, there's an official term for it, but like the old riverbeds that are dried up. And I didn't realize that Gil Hans and his buddy did a renovation back in 2008 or 9 to kind of bring it back to its original form. Same guy, George Walker, I believe, did Riviera and Bel Air Country Club as well. But yeah, I would say Pinehurst number 2 is as close as I can think of as far as like how the new Pinehurst number 2, since it was restored again by Hans and those new age guys.
And I'm not going to knock anybody that wants to use comp courses. I just believe when we don't have any data on the course, I think you have more success looking at stats that you can kind of gather just by looking at the way the course plays. And then for a major like this, I'm going to lean heavily on guys that play well in the U.S. Open, because I think, the U.S. Open and the Open Championship, more than any other, because Augusta almost doesn't even count. It's the same venue over and over again, but there just seems to be certain guys that play well at both of these, right? Like that they continually over and over again do well in one or the other. So I've got some stats for us. Players with 0 missed cuts and multiple top 15 finishes in the last 5 U.S. Opens. They have to have a minimum of 3 starts. Xander Schauffele, Dustin Johnson, Brooks Koepka, Rory McIlroy, Patrick Reed, Patrick Cantlay, Harris English. The top 15 in total strokes gained over the last 5 U.S. Open. Your boy Xander, Allen, number 1 with 46.87 shots. It's amazing. How about this? Louis Oosthuizen missed the cut last year. He's second at 45.59, so he did very well in the previous years. Then we got Dustin Johnson, Rory McIlroy, John Rahm, all 42 or above. Brooks Koepka at 40, but he only has 4 starts, so knowing Koepka, he definitely would be number 1 on this list if he'd have played all 5 years. Hideki, 40.87. Fitzpatrick, a little bit of a drop-off, 35.75. Colin Morikawa, again, only 4 starts, 28.16.
He's the other guy that's played this venue before, not to interrupt you, Keith.
Was he on the Walker Cup?
Yeah, him and Scheffler are the 2 that played in the 2017 Walker Cup.
I think there was one European in the field too, right? That played on the other side.
Yeah, I wasn't looking at the European folks.
It doesn't matter. We're not considering, so it doesn't matter. Bryson DeChambeau, kind of a surprising name, 27.87 strokes over the last 5. Gary Woodland, 26.34. Patrick Reed, 25.87. Here's the other really shocking one because he only has 3 starts. Scotty Scheffler, 24.73. So there's another guy that you would have to imagine if he'd played 5 starts, he would be near the top of this list. Patrick Cantley, 23.87, and Adam Scott, 22.31. There is a significant drop-off after those top 15 guys. It's almost like 6-7 shots. So it shows those 15 guys are the ones that have had the most success by far in those events. Moving on to key stats. I'm going strokes gained total, difficult scoring conditions, obviously strokes gained approach. I think that is a vital stat this week. I think that the big things for me are strokes gained around the greens, difficult courses, strokes gained putting on bent greens. I did look at strokes gained tee to green recent form, par 3 scoring 200 plus, par 4 scoring 450 plus. Bogey avoidance, difficult scoring, I think is going to be big. And then again, I've talked about event history is big for me, but the big ones for me again are I want a guy that has length. I know that I keep reading what's going to play firm. It makes a difference if you get it further down there. And I think with the wider fairways, these longer guys are going to be able to hit driver a lot more than they normally would in the U.S. Open. And you can't tell me it's not a bigger difference if you hit the ball 340 off the tee and say have a 9-iron into a 500-yard par 4 than a guy that hits it, say, 300 yards and has to hit a 7-6-iron. So I do think that's going to play a part. But the big things for me are strokes gained approach, strokes gained around the green, strokes gained putting. Because, again, the greens are very tricky. You got to hit it in very small spots to get the ball to hold on these greens at certain pins. You cannot miss to the wrong side certain pins. And then obviously the reason around the green and putting is so big is if you miss them, you got to be able to scramble. And so I'm looking at guys that scramble. Is there any stats that you guys are really paying attention to, even if it's one of the ones I mentioned?
I would say, and Jay, if you want to take it, feel free. But I would say accuracy off the tee. Looking at this golf course, they're talking about how firm and fast and how wide the fairways are. But the undulations in these fairways, I don't know if I've seen a major championship venue, other than like going to like a Whistling Straits or something like that on those style golf courses where you have such drastic undulations, even in the fairways being so wide. I mean, there's landing spots in them that, are very, very small to keep your ball in the fairway. There's some spots where, like, if you land it right center of the fairway, it's not staying in the fairway because it's so firm and because it's so undulated. So I think not only distance to get past those things, but also being able to put the ball, like we talk about on greens, hitting it to certain spots to give yourself the best chance of making good putts. Same thing with these fairways out there on that golf course. So I think accuracy off the tee is going to be a premium in this one too, in combination with distance, of course.
Jay, you got anything that you're looking at?
Same thing with Ryan. I mean, I think you got to keep it, if I'm a player this week, I'm going and measuring the width of the fairways to see kind of where, the fat part of the fairways are. And I'm trying to keep it in the fairway all week because, I keep seeing these videos of the rough and everything. Man, I would want to stay way out from any of that. I would, I think Ryan, I was texting with you a little bit earlier this evening about somebody had texted about the 286-yard par 3. Chris had texted about the 286-yard par 3, and I'm thinking, I replied back. I'm like, look, I'd almost rather go pitch and wedge, but if the rough is thick, I don't know. It's
good for you that you can get pitch and wedge 290. I wish I could.
He's a big fella. He hits it a long way.
It's that great footwork.
It'd be 2 good pitching wedges. But,
what's crazy about that hole too is that hole they can make it play as a par 4. They can stretch it out to like 326 or something. They're not going to for the Open, but for the members and stuff like that, they can make that hole play as a par 4, which I think is pretty crazy.
Yeah. Well, and from a TV coverage standpoint, in the PGA Championship, I always caught myself really honing in on the short par 4s. Those are always fun to watch, and just kind of to see the finesse, 300-yard par, the 300-yard finesse driver. I like seeing that kind of stuff. So.
I do too, and I'm also interested, always in those situations, and I think they will do that. There's a couple holes this week that they can make drivable if they move the tees up. They've done that in the past. USGA has the last few years, and it's my favorite event for that because it's truly a risk reward thing. Because if you hit a good drive, obviously you can drive the green or be right in front of it, but they normally do it where there is severe trouble if you go for the green and say miss wild to where, on a hole that you could, like to your point, hit 7-iron, wedge for these guys into it. Then they're making, a 5 or a 6. Alan, what were your stats this week that you really leaned into?
Strokes gained when you're Brooks Koepka. That's what I was looking into.
Which is a lot of them.
Yeah. No, I just, again, anytime that we don't have much like course comp data and things like that, just keep it simple. Ball striking is a premium for me. The wind and weather is not going to be much of an issue, but strokes gained approach, and then I did strokes gained total just in general, because when you're talking about like the greens and the rough, just like these different variations that you can't really predict, I just need you to be able to put the ball in the cup, and ultimately that's, to me, is the biggest measuring stick of how well you put the ball in the cup is your total strokes gained. It'll take everything into consideration. I didn't want to get bogged down by going too far into like who's a good putter and things like that, because honestly, I'm not sure if that's gonna truly make a difference in the way, like looking at the videos, I saw the same videos you guys saw, and then the flyover of the course. I think some of it's just going to be unpredictable chaos, man, and you're just going to have to weather the storm. And I talk about that pretty much every major. Like at the end of the day, I want to pick guys that I think can weather that mental storm. And in my article today, I talked about how is looking like it's truly setting up as player versus course. Like it doesn't matter who you're grouped with. At the end of the day, you've got to take on this course. And I need some mentally strong guys. So that takes Roy out of my list.
Touche. I completely agree with all of that. So some of the stats that I have that I was looking at, just to, again, give you names of the people that excel at these things that I think are going to come into play. We talked about, they got 3 par 3s. 2 of them are extremely long. You got the, 6 long par 4s. So top 10 in proximity from 200 plus yards: John Rahm, Tom Hoagie, Gary Woodland, Cameron Tringali. Got that right for once, Alan. Scotty Scheffler, Bryson DeChambeau, Tony Finau, Shane Lowry, Victor Hovland, Mito Pereira. The 8 players, and this is the list that I really like, the 8 players who rank top 25 in both strokes gained approach and strokes gained around the greens. Because, again, it's going to be important, obviously, to have your iron game on point. But even if you miss them, how good are you at getting it up and down? Those guys are Rory McIlroy, Ricky Fowler, Harold Varner III, Tony Finau, Tommy Fleetwood, Hideki, Scotty Scheffler, and Mito Pereira. And then the last one I looked at is top 10 in strokes gained total in difficult scoring conditions. I think we can all agree U.S. Open definitely qualifies as difficult scoring conditions. Colin Morikawa, Tyrell Hatton, Denny McCarthy, Wyndham Clark, Patrick Cantley, Xander Schauffele, Rory McIlroy, Victor Hovland, and Scotty Scheffler. You can see some of the guys' names jump off over and over again. I will tell you one stat that I'm going to look into tonight, because it was the first time I really thought about it. With these difficult greens, I think 3-putt avoidance is a big one that I had not really considered, that maybe nobody's making a ton of putts with it being so difficult. And it's almost more important to make sure you at least 2-putt everything than it is make a lot of putts. So that's something I think I'm going to look at just to see. Do you think that would be something that makes sense, Alan?
Yeah. When we're talking about variances around the green, and then how hard it is with these false fronts and whatnot, like you want guys that, I say about Adam Scott all the time, this at minimum going to make par or 1 bogey. They're not going to truly trick it up, because I can tell you, man, I got some cards or some guys on the bet on several courses where you're like, how did you get a 7 in this spot here? Like when I see 7s on cards, I assume you hit the water. I don't assume you literally just hit it around the green. So that's gonna matter. So yeah, at minimum, if you have a tiebreaker with a couple guys, I think that's a stat that you should look into.
All right, so back by popular demand, we're going to do another draft. Ryan was victorious in the first one.
Some Saudi back.
That's why he's got his own
money,
radio
man.
show, I guess.
There's some Saudi back money on that win. I'm telling you.
Do you guys remember the
You can't hate the
exact
dollar if it's a
order?
victorious dollar.
Do you guys know the exact order other than I know Ryan finished first? I believe I was second. I want to say I thought Alan was fourth even with Koepka, but I can't remember for sure. Do y'all
I'm
remember?
pretty sure I was dead last, even with
Okay.
Koepka. Yeah.
Look, I won. I don't care what happened after
Yeah.
that. I
Screw
didn't
you,
pay
Ryan.
I
We're
just
gonna
got
go,
the moral victory of the double down on Koepka.
we're gonna go in the reverse order this time. So it'll be Alan, Jay, me, Ryan. But I do agree with Alan's suggestion. We are gonna go kind of by tiers, and we're gonna go by odds on DraftKings. The first one's going to be from Scotty Scheffler, who is the favorite at plus 650, to Victor Hovland at plus 1,800. Alan, let's get it started. I know who you're taking, though.
Yeah, without a doubt, I'm taking Brooks.
I still don't understand. How is he not the favorite to win this tournament?
I don't know.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
He won 2 U.S. Opens in the
So
last
tax,
10
Ryan.
years. Like, yeah, it's the stupidest thing I've ever seen. Because if you're in Vegas and they're putting that out, I mean, he's almost double Scotty Scheffler. Give me a break. You let Scotty Scheffler, Brooks Koepka play match play out on this course. I'm taking Brooks Koepka all day long.
Yeah.
Sorry, I had to get that out there.
No, you should. I mean, it was in my article.
It was
doesn't
loosely
make
in my
any
article
sense.
too.
Yeah,
It's
it
loosely
doesn't
in
make
my
any
article
sense.
too. Like I have
baffles
a tier alpha where you're under 10-1 odds, and I was like, I don't understand how Scotty's the outright favorite, and I don't understand how Brooks at the time he was 11-1. Now he's 12-1. I don't get it either.
I'm willing to say that Rahm or Scheffler, one of those guys is going to miss the cut.
Oh yeah.
Just a reminder to people, Koepka's last 23 majors, and actually I think you should throw out last year because I really do believe that it was an aberration. You look, he played horrible. He didn't do well in any of the majors last year. But let's include him. In his last 23 majors, 5 wins, 14 top 10s, 11 top 5s. How is that guy not the favorite? It's insane, especially when, again, this year he's gone second, first. So anyway, great pick, Alan. Jay, who are you taking?
Koepka's on the mountaintop.
If you don't take your boy, Mr. Gummy himself, I'm going to be so disappointed.
Hey, look, he had bad luck at the PGA Championship. Coming in those last few holes, Victor
He won
Hovland.
2 weeks ago.
Well, I'm talking, major championship. He wins his first major Sunday afternoon. Victor Hovland.
You son of a bitch. That was actually who I was going to take.
Yeah.
The stat, and I'll get into this when I get into the DK a little bit more detail. Victor Hovland has done no worse than 7th after any round of his last 3 majors. So Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night, and completion center, he has been no worse than 7th in 3 straight majors. That is unbelievable playing by him.
He's such a nice guy too. I can't even hate him.
Yeah,
Well,
right.
the big thing too, right, is his chipping. Like he figured it out, and that was really his only bugaboo. His numbers on the greens have been really good recently, but it's his chipping the last 3 events is the reason why he's had this, great stretch of 3 tournaments, arguably playing the best golf he has in his entire career. I love that pick.
He's in his happy place, man. He's in his happy place.
I'm going to have to take Scheffler. I
What's
actually
that?
think this is the one event that he ain't even got to putt good if he hits the ball the way he has this year. And there's a good chance he can win. Scotty's ball striking numbers are up there with Tiger's in his heyday. It's literally, he's on pace to have the 2nd best ball striking numbers since they started keeping the stats in the history of the game, only behind Tiger in 2000, which we remember what happened that year. So I'm going to go with Scheffler, and we are on to Mr. Inside Drive, Ryan.
This sucks. Oh, man.
Well, you get back-to-back picks, so
that is true. You just made it better. It's the same.
Just remember, you only get that 1 out of this range. Step to 18.
I know, yeah, that's true. But I got my next pick, I think, ready to go. I want to take Jon Rahm, but he's feeling the PGA betrayal, and his head is not right. He was very vocal about it. I'm going to go with, as slow as this is going to pain me to do, I'm going to go with Patrick Cantlay.
Yeah.
I think his game sets up well for this type of golf course, just because I think he's really good at ball striking. He knows where to put it. He's a good driver of the golf ball, very accurate, and kind of plods about his way. And you're going to need patience out there on this golf course because it's going to come up to bite you numerous times. And I think he's a guy that can handle it based on the guys I got left to pick. So I'm going to take Patrick Cantlay.
I like that. All right, the next pick, and again, it's Ryan again, but we will be going from the 30 to 40 odds. Again, this is on DraftKings Sportsbook.
I got to go with my boy, the Aussie Cam Smith.
You son of a bitch.
He's going to win this damn thing.
I really like Cam. The 63 on Sunday at the PGA, I think that kind of kickstarted him back in gear. And again, the two big stats for me, approach, around the green putting. There's not much better than Cam Smith at those three. Again, I think the wider fairways will help him hit more fairways and just make it more likely he can win. Because that's his one. It's like what I said about Eric Cole last week. His only issue is off the tee. Everything else is spectacular. And if these wider fairways are playing firm, means he can hit a few more fairway woods or irons off the tee just to get it in play. That is bad news for the rest of the field. Man, I really wanted that dude. I'm going to have to take, in my opinion, the guy with the best short game. Again, especially wedge game. His approach game's got so much better. He drives the ball better. I'm going to go with Jordan Spieth. There's a couple other guys I thought about there, but at the end of the day, Spieth is he's having a great year. He really is. He's got the one win. He should have more, but he has just been playing so consistent. And this kind of seems like a course that Spieth's going to love because he was obsessing. I saw a video on the 50 in the first practice round on Monday about where to hit. Literally, he spent 45 seconds with his K talking about where he was going to hit his tee shot in a practice round. So you got to love Jordan Spieth. All right, Jay, you're up, big man.
All right, so I've been finding dimes all over the place for some reason.
No, the dimes have been finding you, Jay, and they're certainly in the older demographic.
Yeah, and so dimes represent the number 10. So I'm looking back on Justin Rose, who won the 2013 U.S. Open. So if you add 10 years to that, that's 2023 U.S. Open. I'm going Justin Rose.
I like that play.
That's a great pick.
Thank you.
Colin Morikawa.
That is also a good pick. Morikawa and Koepka is terrifying. All right, Alan, you are back again, and this time, again, we're going from the 40 to 60 range.
Tony Finau.
Oh, great pick. Just a great pick. If you notice, I'm not going to lie, I didn't pay a lot of attention to Finau this week. And then when I was going over all those stats, his name kept coming up on a lot of them. So maybe I should have paid a little bit more attention to him. He is a little high priced, in my opinion, on DK with some of the price of other guys. But I do really like, I like his 6-1 top 5 odds a lot. All right, back to you, Jay.
Let's see here. I'm going. Man, he's rocking these Los Angeles Country Club golf shoes this week. Ricky Fowler. Yeah.
I still believe Ricky's on the up and up.
He's due.
Yeah,
he's due.
It would be a great story if he won. I think obviously the TV execs would love that. I would love it because it's just, to me, it's hard not to root for Fowler. And this is one of the events he's played very well, and he's made the cut in 8 out of 11 U.S. Opens. So no doubt. I'm going to go with my boy Jason Day. I don't have to think about it. I still think this is like the tailor-made. Jason Day is finally back. I know he got the win earlier this year, but I think the major would be the exclamation point. And I know that it's hard to remember because Day went through so many struggles from like 2018 on. He had a 6-year stretch where he had 5 out of 6 years a top 10 finish in the U.S. Open. 4 of them inside the top 6, 3 of them inside the top 4, including 2 runner-ups. Jason Day is made for U.S. Opens, so I'm going to go with Jason Day. And then we are back around to Ryan.
Got to make one comment about Jay's pick first before I give you my pick.
Yeah, man. Go ahead.
Ricky Fowler played at Oklahoma State. Jay, what's the mascot of Oklahoma State?
The Cowboys.
What road are they right by there in Beverly Hills?
Rodeo.
Rodeo Drive.
He almost said it wrong too, Ryan.
It's just like on the show.
Yeah.
These things for him, and they almost don't get
I
hit.
love you guys.
I like that, dude.
Yeah, see, your Ricky Fowler pick is even more affirmed because they're right there off.
Remember that tomorrow when we
Rodeo
talk
Drive.
about it, Jay. Okay, like, don't forget that.
Definitely.
Ricky Fowler, for sure.
As much as it pains me because I'm not the biggest fan of him, I just feel like it's a safer pick for my third pick here. Even though I got another one coming up, I'm gonna take Bryson
I
DeChambeau.
knew it. I like him this week a lot.
He's trending in the right direction with his golf game after he's got off the big bulk, and I think he played well in the PGA, and he's won a U.S. Open before, and I think that has a lot of merit.
He's very good around the greens, which people don't ever want to talk about when he gets hot with a putter. And I mean, let's be honest, when he won that U.S. Open, kind of a similar course, right? Like he played firm and fast. He bombed it everywhere. I like DeChambeau a lot this week, particularly on DraftKings. All right, so the next pick is going to be in the 60 to 80 range. Ryan, you are back up, my friend.
Back at the top here. Whew. Now, this is the section where it definitely gets a little interesting for sure. Let's see. I'm going to go with I'm going to leave this one out there for you because I know you're probably going to take him. I'm going to go with Augusta State bully Patrick Reed.
Ooh.
So who you saying you were leaving somebody out for me?
I was leaving Adam Scott out there for you.
I'm going to shock you guys. I am not going to take Adam Scott, even though, again, he will be in my DK plays that I'll get to in a minute. I love Mito Pereira this week. This is a golf course that sets up very well for him. He's got plenty of length. He's one of the best short game players in the world. I wish he could putt a little better, but he's amazing with wedges and stuff around the green. He's great at scrambling and one of the better iron players on tour. He's playing well recently, including played well at the PGA Championship. So I'm going to go with Mito with my next pick, and we are back to Jay Henley.
Ooh.
Back quickly. It came right back to you.
It did. How about Keegan Bradley?
Wait a minute now. I think you went too deep, bro. Yep, you got to wait on him. We just got to be in the 60 to 80 range.
That means plus 6,000 or plus 8,000 in that range.
Sorry.
Okay. My fault.
No, you're good. It's from Sanjay M to Corey Connors. Now I took Mito.
Okay. Wow, that doesn't leave me with
Yeah,
that's all right. So I'll go with Sam Burns. I've heard his name mentioned a few times this week. So yeah, I like it.
I do too.
In my
article, the
article,
respect that he deserves. I said this after he won earlier this year. He has more wins than Spieth. I think it's Morikawa and Sanjay M combined in the last 2 years. And for whatever reason, he's not on the same level, or people think he's not. And me and Alan talk all the time that for these winning odds, you got to actually win to have these low odds. And Burns has done that. 65, I think that's a little disrespectful to him.
So in junior golf camp today, I gave away a little water bottle. I said, hey, and these are little 7-year-olds, right? And I go, hey, whoever can name a current PGA Tour player, raise their hand, they'll win a water bottle. Dude, one little 7-year-old goes, Sam Burns. And I'm like, where did that come from? But
he's big in the 7-year-old market, like you were big with women from 45 to 70 years old. So we all have our target demos.
That's right.
That's
exactly right.
No lie. In my article from 60 to 80, I said that I wasn't picking anybody because none of them have good enough history for me to bet on them. And so when he went and skipped up to plus 110, I was like, you know what? I'm not even mad at him, man. This is awful. And I've been sitting here trying to rack my brain.
It was your idea, Alan.
I know.
You're really not going to take your boy at a U.S. Open?
Who?
Sanjay.
No, I'm not actually.
Wow.
Luck of the Irish.
Yeah, I know. I'm going to take Adam Scott.
That's my boy.
I know. It pains me.
Hey, look, if his iron game is as good as his
we say
will be in contention.
if so much, man. It's just like Jason Day. We do 2 years of if, and it finally came around. So we're like halfway there for him. We got one more year of ifs.
I'm saying in that range, I would be
in that range.
Other than Reed, I would be most confident in Adam Scott making the cut at this event.
Yeah, if he doesn't make the cut, I'll be sure to send explicits.
No, I'm sure you will. That's okay. Send them my way. All right, Alan, back to you, and this time from the 80 to 110 range.
Gary Woodland.
That's not a shocker.
Just picking the people from an article. That's all. Not being a homer at all.
He's doubling down. Jay, again, we got from Russell Henley to Sahith Theegala, and Woodland is gone.
Okay, I'll go with cousin Russell.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he went with Henley.
Georgia boy.
Yep.
I'm surprised there hasn't been more made about Russell this week. This seems like a really good golf course for him with it playing firm and fast because we know he's accurate. He plays well at Augusta that usually plays pretty firm and fast. I am kind of surprised that I really have heard nothing about him this week. I will gladly go back to the well. Give me Joaquin Niemann. He let me down a little bit at the PGA, but I believe in him. He's made the cut in all 3 U.S. Opens he's played in. So I'm going to go with Joaquin Niemann, and we're back to the defending champ, Ryan.
I'll go with you got to almost pick him in this spot. I'll go with Sahith Theegala.
Yeah. It's a good one. I thought about it.
Another guy that, I know he's a bomber, but I don't think people realize how good he is at scrambling around the greens and putting. He's also just a birdie machine. All right, so for the last pick, it is the 110 or higher range. Ryan, who's going to fill out your lineup?
Man, I'm going to take Eric Cole. He's
you son of a bitch.
Hey, I listened to when you talk on our show on Wednesday, and there's really no reason not to pick Eric Cole in this
I keep
spot.
telling you, man, the only way we can get away with this is through the podcast because you get on Inside Drive dropping the B-bomb, it's a wrap.
Wow. I'm just saying, if he takes Eric Cole in a draft that we're having on there, I probably will drop the B word.
Oh, good. Man. You
literally,
served.
I was like, I can at least get Cole because there's only one person picking from me. I do appreciate you saying, though, you do listen to me.
Yeah.
In just a second.
Except he burned me with that tied 6th last week. He could have just made one more birdie.
Man, that made me sick. I'm serious. I'm going to get into a minute. Eric Cole is, in my opinion, the best value this week. I love him at 30 to 1 to top 5 and 11-1 to top 10. And don't mind throwing $1 on 180 to 1. Why not? So since, you come on my show and take my guy, give me
Slim pickings now.
No,
there's some guys out there.
This is where all the good people are, right, Jay?
Yes, sir. That's I hear you.
Yeah,
I hear you, Alan.
Yeah, this is our spot right here.
You got to take a sectional qualifier, Jay.
I tell you what, I'm going to take Sam Bennett.
I was thinking that's a good one.
Hey man, we got a one-handed chipper in the Austin. Don't know. His last
Austin.
name.
Yeah.
Sam Bennett is the last person from my article, you jerk.
He's the last guy in my DraftKings article, so you copied my homework.
No, I didn't. I was betting them again.
All right. Jay, on to you, buddy.
All right, so
you got to take the one hand. It's Austin Truslow is his name.
He really chips one-handed?
Plus 250,000. He lapped him in the sectional, chipping one-handed.
Yeah, he did.
What's his name?
However,
Austin Truslow.
Man, there's this buzz that keeps going. Obviously hanging out with Michael Shears, and he knows him personally. And dude, this Gordon Sargent kid is hungry,
very, very talented.
Hungry, and he hits it 40 yards past DeChambeau and all these other guys.
A country mile.
I brought him up, remember, for the Masters. I know he didn't have a great Masters event, but there's a lot of people who think this is the next big thing coming to the PGA Tour.
He's going to shoot 84, 82.
That's all right. He's going as long as he beats Sam Bennett. I'm smarter than Keith. So, Alan, who are you closing out with?
Who's at the bottom here? Let me see. Nope, joking. Phil Mickelson.
Oh, holy!
Why not, man?
Yeah.
Why not, Phil? Come on, Phil.
I like it.
He's guaranteed to finish second.
Yeah.
If it was the old days, it definitely was that case. All right, let's real quickly go through these before we move on. Alan went first. He took Koepka, Morikawa, Finau. Unbelievable first three. Adam Scott, Gary Woodland, Phil Mickelson. Jay went second. He went with Victor Hovland, Justin Rose, Ricky Fowler, Sam Burns, Russell Henley, Gordon Sargent. I just want to say, Jay, I know the Hovland pick was great last time. Your team is much better overall this time, buddy.
Okay.
We got your boy, me, going with Scheffler, Spieth, Day, Mito Pereira, Neiman, Sam Bennett, and the defending champ went with Cantley, Cam Smith, DeChambeau, Patrick Reed, Sahith Theegala, and Eric Cole. So we will see how that plays out. We might have to get like a belt or a T-shirt or something made so we know who the champ is. Actually, we'll get a trophy made. Screw it. We'll get a little budget there and see who ends up being the champ for each major. It'd just be fun to mail it back and forth. All right, real quickly, I want to go over the DK plays, and then we can hit some of our favorite pick to win, best bets, and we'll get out of here. This week for my official lineup, Brooks Koepka, 10,800. He is anchoring it, no surprise. I learned my lesson leaving Koepka out of my lineup for the Masters this year. Luckily, my co-host was smart enough to know that he's still Brooks Koepka. He told you to play him at the Masters, so thank you for that, Alan. I used him in the PGA. He rewarded me. He won the tournament. There is no player I'd rather have in a golf major than Koepka. Last year, it's officially an aberration. We can say that now without a doubt after, the results. I think you can make a case that Koepka is a good fit for any golf course, but I think Los Angeles Country Club, that is definitely the case. The wider fairways, I think, will allow Koepka to hit driver more often, which he is pretty accurate with, and give him shorter clubs into these difficult greens. And I think he's an underrated player in scrambling and putting. People don't give him enough credit for how many big putts he makes, how many big up and downs he gets. He has gained at the PGA Championship. He gained 8 shots on the field on and around the greens. That is part of the reason he won. In the first 2 majors, he's gained an absurd 30.8 shots on the field just at the Masters and PGA Championship. This guy's really good. That shouldn't come as a surprise. I said it earlier. Since 2017, he has 5 wins in majors, 14 top 10s, 11 top 5s. That's 23 majors played. And again, 4 of the ones that were not top 10s or top 5s were all last year when he played bad. So it's just unbelievable. Literally that consistent dominance in majors is rarefied air if your name is not Jack or Tiger. He should be the heavy favorite, and I'm shocked that there's 2 guys that are significantly more expensive on DK. Second, I got Victor Hovland, 10,000. I love the value plays you can find in that like 7,000 to 7,600 range. That's going to allow me to anchor my lineup with both Koepka and Hovland. Hovland, I mentioned earlier, arguably playing the best golf he has in his career. He had the win at Memorial, the runner-up at PGA. He's always been a superior ball striker. And but the issue has been his chipping. Over his last 3 events, he's gained 3.8 shots on the field around the greens, 12.1 on them. I didn't know he's putting that well lately. That's serious. Gaining almost 4 shots an event on the greens is big. For reference, in his previous 10, he lost 9.7 shots total around the green and over 5 on them. And again, that stat, I got to say it over and over again. He has not been worse than 7th at the conclusion of any round over his last 3 majors. That is just incredible consistency. He's had success at the U.S. Open as well. He's got 2 career top 15s at this event. He withdrew into 21. He missed a cut last year. But, again, 2 top 15s. He can play U.S. Opens. I think they're tailor-made for him. So everybody from this point on, 7,500 and under in this lineup. I got Fowler. If you read the column regularly, if you listen to the show, you know how much I've been on him this year. He's everything I'm looking for in a player in a U.S. Open. He's made the cut in 8 of his 11 appearances, 4 top 20s, 3 top 10s. Great recent form in 2023. He's has 9 top 20 finishes and 8 top 15 finishes in 12 events this year. It's just incredible. And most encourages best 2 finishes came in the last 2 weeks with a 6th and 9th place finish. Fowler strokes gain numbers, they're good across the board. Last 5 tournaments, gaining 6 shots on the field, total strokes gain. In that same span, he's gaining over a shot on the field, off the tee, on approach, around the greens, and on the greens. Just seriously, consistently playing well. He plays difficult courses well, gaining over a shot on the field per round. And this season, he has putted by far the best on bent greens, which, again, that's the surface we're playing. Next up, Patrick Reed, 7,500. Anyone who listens to this show or just knows me knows I can't stand Patrick Reed. But when it comes to attempting to win money, you can just throw my particular feelings out the window. He is a great play. He's quietly finished in the top 18 in both of the majors so far in 2023. His history at the U.S. Open and his play at the 2 majors so far this year makes me very bullish on him. He's made the cut in 8 of 9 U.S. Opens played, 5 top 20s in those 9 U.S. Open appearances. He's one of the 8 players in the field in the top 25 in both strokes gained approach, strokes gained around the green. And, I mean, the reason Reed is so good at this particular major is it's really simple. He's unbelievable with his wedges around the green, one of the best in the world. And, man, can he get hot, particularly on bent greens, right, Alan? We have learned that lesson a long time ago. Mm-hmm. Reed can get it going on bent greens. I really think he's got a chance to win this event. He has been consistently one of the better players around the greens his entire career. At the PGA Championship, he gained 1.7 shots around the greens and 6.8 on them. That is what he can do. And finally, in his last 17 major championship starts, Reed has made the cut in 15 of 17. I like that in that 7,500 range because he's probably going to play the weekend. Mito Pereira, 7,200. Did not expect to have him here when I started my research, but after a deeper dive, I think he's a great play. I think he's going to be low owned because he's missed his 2 previous U.S. Open appearances, but he is top 10 in the field for proximity from 200-plus yards, which I told you I think that's going to play a big deal. He's also one of those 8 players that are top 25 in both strokes gained approach, strokes gained around the greens. He's in good recent form. He's got 2 top 5 finishes in his last 3 live events. He's made the cut in both starts of the majors this year. He finished 43rd at the Augusta, 18th at the PGA. If he can just have a decent week on the greens, I think he's going to definitely make the cut, and I wouldn't be surprised if he's in contention if he has a good week on the greens. And then finally, Eric Cole, who Ryan so rudely selected in our draft, 7,000. My favorite play last week at the Canadian Open was him at 7,900. He finished T6 thanks to a 63 on Sunday. I am literally giddy about him being 7K on DraftKings. Cole has 5 top 25 finishes in his last 7 events, 2 top 10s in that span. He racked up 24 birdies last week at the Canadian Open, giving him 16 or more in 7 of his last 9 events on tour. And despite this being a major championship, Cole is top 20 in the field in total strokes gained short game, strokes gained around the green, strokes gained putting. He's 19 in the field in DraftKings scoring. There are 56 players who are more expensive than him this week. That is value over his last 5 events. Cole is averaging 5.9 total strokes on the field, 4.4 tee to green, 1.0 around the greens, and 1.5 on them. Again, his one weakness is his accuracy and efficiency off the tee. I think a course with wide fairways and that is playing firm is going to give him other options and a chance that he's going to hit more fairways, whether that be with like a 3-wood, which he did a lot last week, or just, he's got more room for his driver. He hits it plenty far, over 300 yards, averages off the tee. If he can find more fairways, I think he's got a chance to win. Like, forget contend. I really think Cole is playing that well. I watched him very closely last week. He's as good as anybody on tour from 125 yards within. I mean, it was every time he had 125 or less in on Sunday, birdie. Every time. I mean, he made a ton of like 8 to 15 footers. Love Cole. My other options, I'm not going to go into detail. You can listen to the Inside Drive tomorrow. I'll give you details on that then. But I love Cam Smith at 9,000, Jason Day 8,100, Joaquin Neiman 7,700, and Sam Bennett 6,500. Guys, do y'all have any DK plays that you like this week that maybe I didn't mention before we get into our picks to win and favorite bet?
Who are the 5 best golfers alive? Brooks, Brooks.
Dylon.
I'm joking. Nah, I mean, I honestly don't have the track record to question your DK picks.
But don't you think Koepka should? He's the anchor of my line. I think he should be the anchor of almost every lineup this week.
Yeah, I think he's a solid anchor.
I don't know how you can't, because if you don't take Koepka and he does what everybody expects him to do, you're not going to win. So
yeah,
you almost have no choice.
Yeah, I somehow just ran a mock DraftKings, and I have Koepka as my lead guy, but I somehow ended up with Neiman, Reed, Cam Smith, Theegala, and Woodland in a lineup there.
Yeah, because again, it's really weird this week. I love the guys in that like 7,000 to 7,700 range.
Yeah.
I think other than Theegala and Cam, right? All those other guys are like 7,500 and less. Correct.
That's correct.
Yeah. So yeah. I'm interested to see if a lot of people do that, or more people end up going with, say, 3 expensive guys and then trying to hit some, home runs in the 6,000 range. Yeah. There really is. There's guys in that 7,000 to 7,700 range that I like more than all the guys in the 8,000 range, which I know that sounds crazy. Or excuse me, with the exception of Jason Day. But there's a lot of different ways you can do it this week. But my recommendation is to do Koepka and then one other expensive guy. Like I did for my official lineup, Koepka, Hovland. I don't mind. Like I think Koepka Smith's a good pick. If you like, say, Koepka and Scheffler, you can get creative and do it. You really can. There's enough plays, in my opinion, in that like 7,000, 7,700 range where you can really do some different things this week. I don't understand why a lot of these guys are in that range. And there's still a live tax for sure, guys. I mean, it's unbelievable to see all the prices. Like Cam Smith's 9,000. Justin Johnson's 8,200 this week. Like, what is going on? I know he's not in great form, but he's got a great track record at this event. All right, let's get to the picks to win and your favorite bet. So, who wants to go first?
Jay's got to go first. He's got the best bets, man.
All right, Jay, who is your official pick to win? Is it Victor Hovland? Because I know you said that earlier.
Yeah, I'll go Victor Hovland. You called it. Yeah.
Okay. Do you have a favorite bet? You were looking at the odds, and by favorite bet, I mean I know Victor Hovland's your favorite, play this week, but I think he's at what, like 20-1, 18-1, something like that. Right. Is there a guy that at their odds they're really appealing? Would it be like Sam Burns you mentioned earlier, 65-1, which I think that's good value, or who you got?
Well, Sam would be a good one, but also, Chris Kirk's got some. His short game is
get off the Georgia Bulldog kid.
There is nothing wrong. This is a pro Georgia Bulldog show, Ryan.
He's better than Eric Cole.
Hey, look, I'm all about the guy that's been out on tour for a number of years, that's still searching for that, major champion, and Chris Kirk, he's got what it takes, man. So yeah,
as long as he's still on the wagon, I think we're good. I like that.
Yeah.
Now I like my golfers to be battling demons. That's when they're at their best.
Yeah,
you're an anti-hero guy. You always.
Yeah, I
am.
Jay is a big Swiftie, so that would make sense with the anti-hero.
Shake it off, Jay.
Oh my God.
All right, Ryan, who you got, buddy? Who's your official pick to win? And give me your favorite bet.
I can't get off Brooks to win this thing. I think if I had to bet one person, and put all my money on it, would be Brooks. But at 30-1, I think Cam Smith has got some serious value to win the tournament. I think he's going to be there on Sunday. If he can, like you said, you got a lot of room in these fairways now. You can't end up not in the fairway, even if you hit the fairway, just because of the way the undulations and the speeds are. But Cam Smith was arguably one of the hottest golfers in golf as the live transition happened, and I think he's definitely trending up. And I really like Cam Smith this week.
I love that.
Cool.
Alan?
Cam Smith's not a real golfer. That's why he went to live. He was scared.
Him and Brooks, right?
Yeah.
Together.
Yeah. Now
Brooks went to live.
Brooks went to live because it gave him the opportunity to make money without actually having to try until majors. So
that's what he wanted to do anyway.
Yeah, that's what he wanted.
Yeah. I said from the get-go, he was the one guy that made sense.
Now, obviously, picking Brooks, but value and potential wise, I think Colin Morikawa at 35-1 is a good spot.
What's our rule, Alan?
Anything over 22-1, you got to bet them. But I actually talked about it briefly in my article. There's a West Coast bias with a lot of these guys. I don't think people pay attention to it often. But Morikawa, Cantley, Homa are guys that I think have a West Coast bias. Like they typically play their best golf.
He won the PGA at what was it? San Francisco.
Yeah, someone said it was Harding Park or something.
Harding Park, TPC Harding Park. That's right.
Yeah. So I just made a note of that. The fact that the fairways are wider, which means he hopefully will have more opportunities with unrestricted approach shots, which is his game, man. Like he's the guy when you're talking about being accurate with your approach shots. I think he's still top 3 strokes gained approach. And honestly, the only thing that keeps him from really winning and being in that upper echelon right now is his putting. Like he can't putt to save his life. And I mentioned that a little and made a note that, there are some times where I will go against what it says on paper based on what I see. And what I'm banking on and hoping for here with this bet is that the putting will come together this 1 week. It'll all come together because everything else is there. It's just the putting. And then I thought Gary Woodland was grossly overpriced at 110-1.
Also won a U.S. Open in California.
Yeah, he won a USA Open in U.S. Open in California. He's a West Coast bias guy. Does great with ball striking. Actually has pretty decent distance off the tee this year too. And so I'm not really understanding why he's priced like he is. But I thought he was good for a flyer. I love his prop. I put it in my article, but I had him to crack the top 10 at 8-1. I had Morikawa at 6-1 for top 5. And then I'm gonna bet Sam Bennett propping, man. I'm stuck on it. He bothered me last week because he tied 20th. I will put this out there. If people watch and this is the only thing they hear, listen to me. You need to go to MGM. If you're betting props, you need to go to MGM. I put it in my article because last week I had $50 left in my DraftKings account because I had moved everything over to MGM. And I said, what the hell? That's $50. I'll just throw no Sam Bennett to top 20. 6-1. Would have got $350 back. But because he tied 5 different ways, I ended up getting $70 back. Now, those same odds on MGM had him at 5-1, and I put $25 over there because I just had some extra over there. So I ended up basically breaking even. But imagine if I'd have taken that whole 50 and put it on MGM, he would have got there. So, but I like what I see out of him. He's a competitive guy, man. He did not play well the first 2 rounds. A lot of like ups and downs, a lot of +3 on the front 9, 4 under on the back 9, but he brought it together on Sunday. And even though he didn't have an opportunity to actually win, it's the fact that it's the little things I look for. A guy who's out there not just playing because he's happy to be there, but playing because he wants to improve his game. And that's why he ended up 8 under. And you're getting him at 9-1 in the top 20. I think is a good spot. And if he doesn't land here, every single time I get a chance with him in a prop bet down the top 20 and it's over 5-1, I'm going to take it because he's out there trying to make himself better. And I don't think
he's trying to get his card.
That too. And I don't think anybody is paying attention to that because Sam Bennett, he's an amateur. Like the mystique from the Masters got overshadowed by Michael Block. But I think he's getting some disrespect, man. So that was my favorite prop bet. But anything with Brooks is plus 260 to top 5. Come on, man. That's really crazy. I follow golf odds habitually. Golf odds and football odds are the 2 things that I will follow from the time they post until the time they tee off. And I can't for the life of me explain to you why Brooks isn't in the same area as Rahm or why his odds went up, despite everything that we know about his history. But I will say that, he was 50-1 at the Masters. He was 22-1 at the PGA Championship. He's 11-1 in the U.S. Open. He's going to be down to 7-1, 6-1 here soon. So, again, if you like him, now is the time to bet him.
I agree. Sam Bennett, by the way, I had him 9-1 to top 20. It's one of my favorite props as well. Remember, he played great at Augusta when it played firm and fast. Then he kind of struggled once it got wet, because he's not like the longest guy in the world. But from what we've seen, we saw it at Memorial. He's a grinder, man, and that's really good for a U.S. Open. So I do really like that. He's somebody that sticks with it. But my official pick to win is Jason Day.
Of course it is.
I believe it's his time.
Australian Tiger.
I don't know why you're getting so upset, man.
Because I don't never pick him, and then he wins, and then I get mad. It's just bitterness. That's all.
It's just bitterness. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just saying. 5 out of the last 7. My favorite bet, though, I'm going with Joaquin Neiman. I think that it is unbelievable odds, getting him at 90-1. Reminder: he won the Genesis at Riviera. His last 3 starts in California, he finished top 10. He obviously also likes the West Coast. I just think that is crazy value. Also really like him at 16-1 to top 5. All right, gentlemen, I think we got through this. Jay, tell me something to plug. Give me something to plug. I know we got camp going on. What else what's up in the world of Jay?
Tell me your OnlyFans.
No, because if that got out, that would crash their server. There's no doubt.
Oh man, I don't know it, Keith. I don't know it, man. Just plugging away, staying busy.
Don't you have a website? You got stuff to plug, Jay.
Golfwithjay.com.
Yeah,
there you go. Thank you.
Golfwithjay.com. Come see me if you want to get better.
You might get a free T-shirt, maybe.
There you go.
I haven't got mine, so don't be too hopeful.
Keep it in the fairway. I'll see you on the next tee.
That's right.
Oh man,
Ryan, go ahead and give us the plug for the Inside Drive.
You got to listen to the Inside Drive. And it was funny, Alan today, David, our producer behind the glass, he's also the host of the Afternoon Underdogs. He's like, I don't think Alan called today. That might have been the first time Alan hasn't called.
Yeah, man.
Does he know all your different names and
I know, but look,
again,
like I said, as you guys can see behind me, the 5-year-old left, and I have a 5 a.m. flight, and nothing's packed or cleaned, so I have been scrambling today.
Yeah. Busy fellow the rest of the evening, that's for sure. But yeah, just ESPN Northwest Florida. You can check us out on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. It's the Inside Drive, and we have a lot of fun. Today was a lot of fun, and looking forward to do it again tomorrow. Can't wait till football season, obviously, and we can, which is right around the corner now. So looking forward to talking about that for sure. I think Vegas just scored another goal, so it looks like the house money cats are out the window here pretty soon. So all the major sports are coming to an end.
I was gonna say you better get your material ready to go, Ryan, because you got a lot of air to fill.
Hey, as long as Jay's there, we're good.
Yeah, we can get through it. We get
Jay.
Alan, be sure to plug your article, please.
Yeah, but no, for real, Jay, look, if you're not going to do Ravishing Rick Rude, you got to come into the Shawn Michaels intro. Come on.
Yeah, there you go.
We can
You know
dial it
that
up.
one, Jay? You know that one?
Yeah.
Sexy boy? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you haven't seen my article yet, it's on Fantasy Six Pack 2023 PGA Tour U.S. Open tier bet selections. I did a different article this time. I did a draw and a fade. So the draw is who you would bet. The fade obviously is who you don't want to bet. So it kind of gives you an idea of who you like and who you shouldn't like. And as always, I'm open-minded, man. If people got feedback, that's great. But I will say in the majors, because I have trailed Brooks, I finished second on my favorite play and then first in the PGA Championship. But I had Scotty. No, was it Rahm? I had the winner in the article in the Masters. I had Rahm. as I think my first pick in there, and I threw Brooks in at the 50-1. So there's a winner in there somewhere. And then I point out, as always, like between Keith's DK picks and my picks, we've had a winner every week except for last week. But you know, if I'm gonna lose on a putt like that, I'm cool with it, man. That was just phenomenal, just to see. And then the last plug for me is that I am getting close to getting into the Las Vegas Super Contest. For people who don't know, it's out of Westgate, I believe, but it's the professional sports capper contest. You pay $1,000 to get in. I think the winning pot is close to $3 million. And you know, if you place in the top 10, you get free invitation next year. Last year I was 64%, finished number 19th due to unfortunate circumstances that I'm still in debate with my bookie about. But for anybody who doesn't know, I was 2 places away from an extra 10 grand in my winnings, and my 2 losses came on the Jets safety, inexplicable safety in the last game of the year. And then the Hamlin game, which was ruled a no contest. And because it was ruled a no contest, I got 0 points that week. And I was the only person in the top 10 that got 0 points, and it dropped me 9 spots. So I tried to lobby to get a playoff game fill in or something, but the rules are the rules. And as gamblers, we do know that the house rules are the house rules. So I'm still in protest, but I'll be back next year to play.
Man, that's
yeah.
I'm really disappointed in you, because you should just drag them into the street like you always talk about. You know,
well, no, because my bookie has been very nice to me, and they do give me a lot of vouchers because I kind of run their table sometimes with their soft lines. So we have a positive relationship for a sports book. So I'm not gonna be too crazy. But the Vegas thing is a real big deal to me, because it's like my first official, like, guys I listen to, like Steve Fesnick and those guys, they play in this contest. Or RJ Bell, I don't know if you guys know him, but like some of these like infamous sports cappers will do that. So it's a big deal, and it's $1,000 entry. So I know the payouts are going to be good. So I just need to get my weight up. So.
Yep.
And one last plug. Yeah, one last plug. I'm 65% in MLB right now, so I'm rolling.
People watch MLB.
Anyway. What? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, that's a legit question. I thought that everybody had to be 60 or older to watch it. Like it's the same women that are coming after Jay. I appreciate Ryan and Jay coming on as always. Alan, you know, I think you're one of the smartest dudes in the biz. But for Keith, Alan, they're great guys from the Inside Drive. This has been 2 Off the Tee, the U.S. Open preview. Hope you guys have a bunch of winners this week, and we'll see you soon.
Peace.